Hello, I'm Sam, and I am one of the co founders and managing director of a company called Mixed Reality Rooms. What Mixed Reality Rooms is it's a software platform that ultimately gives you the ability to, or well, provides you with a different way to communicate with a target audience using immersive interactive experiences. So think of video games, but for businesses. How we've worked with EAs before is we have run kind of holiday parties that they've put on. We've run kind of team building events. We've helped push initiatives and new policies that have come through the organization. And also, in some cases, smaller companies where there's not necessarily a training or a learning and development department, we have helped them build out training experiences to upskill the rest of the team. A bit of pre-context before we kind of dive in. And if you're not following yet, don't worry. It's a very visual tool. So once you see it, you'll understand much more easily how this all works. But some pre-context, we're not delusional. Our idea of hell is to wear a headset 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not kind of what we're striving for here. Everything here is web based, so it's as easy to access as a Zoom or a Teams link. So it's just a website URL that you send to people and they can jump in. We're also not delusional in the fact to say that this is the best place to meet in real life. That would be in person, probably in a pub somewhere over a few drinks, but that's not always possible. And we're also not trying to replace Teams or Zoom. So they work fine for 90% of use cases. Predominantly what you would use these types of experiences for is for those 10% of times where, or 5 or 10% of times when you really have a message that matters at, for example, from the CEO or CMO, and you want to kind of convey that in a much more engaging way. So why kind of like do we exist? Well, as we all know, the world has changed. And it's now kind of like this post-COVID world where 8 out of 10 people have realized they can do their jobs remotely. So it's led to this kind of remote first culture. So there are companies that are fighting for everyone to be back in the office. There are companies that are fully remote. The majority of companies are hybrid, but ultimately it leaves leadership teams with the same problem and challenge, which is how can we kind of engage a remote workforce and build a culture like we were doing prior to COVID in the office. The problem, if we dive a bit deeper into that, is with a remote first culture, communication gets lost. So obviously everyone's inboxes are super busy. Only 7% of decks and kind of presentations are actually read. And most people are bored to death of webinars, excluding this one, of course. So kind of what do you do? So, this might be a good opportunity for you to kind of wrap up all of that content that you want to push out and deliver to everyone else into an immersive experience and allow them to kind of consume it that way. As briefly mentioned earlier, in terms of kind of actual use cases, there might be times where you need to organize a holiday or Christmas party. There might be times where you need to kind of step in and support with promotion of new policies and initiatives. There might be times, and I'll show you some examples of this later, how we worked with some EAs, where there is an opportunity to put on themed or cultured events, for example, around sustainability. And, you've also got the training element as well. So here is simply just a different way to get kind of your colleagues and teams engaged so that they actually listen, take note, and perhaps more importantly, you can also measure that that message has been received as well. So instead of it being kind of a one-way presentation where you're speaking at everyone or communicating whatever the message, you're making it 2 ways within kind of the organization. In terms about us and how we do that, we have 2 solutions. One is called Showcase. Think of this as a live event solution where you can kind of gather a group of people together at the same time in an immersive world. The other is called 7 Minutes in Heaven, which has had a bit of controversy recently. I don't think American teams like it that much, but ultimately it's a solo-led experience where the user will join on their own, and it can be done at any time. So think of like an on-demand experience, similar to kind of how you would select a film on Netflix. You could select one of these immersive games to join whenever the user has time to dip in and do it. What's super interesting about this solo-led concept is this came off the back of what one of our clients told us at the end of last year, which was they were struggling to get everyone together at a certain time, at a certain place, whether that's in person or online for a webinar virtually. And instead of going against the grain and trying to create something that's super, super engaging, that drags people in from kind of what their actual behavior is telling them, we thought it might be better to create an experience which kind of goes with the flow and matches their behaviors, which is, quite frankly, most people watch webinars on demand anyway. So why not create something that people can do in their own time when they have the time to do that? It's actually ended up being one of our most popular tools as well, and I imagine it will continue to rise with popularity on top of that. So that's what we do, why we exist, and I think the best thing for me to do now is kind of show you how that works in practice with some real life examples, and hopefully answer some of your questions as we go. Now, it's all very good looking to the future, thinking of these immersive experiences, but of course, I totally understand that many of you will have some concerns about a wide range of different things, and I'll do my best to go over some of the most frequent ones as I go along the way. But again, remember, you've got a chance to ask me any of these kind of questions or concerns at the end in the Q&A. The first example, and perhaps the most sophisticated that I will show you, is some of the work we did with the EA team at Google Cloud. So the EA team were responsible for organizing an all-hands meetup for all of the marketing teams across EMEA. So typically how this went was most of the day for them was spent on Google Meet, as you'd expect, delivering and kind of streaming content. But for an hour, we worked with them to create an interactive breakout experience, which lasted an hour. We didn't work with them for an hour, where all the teams could come together, socialize, and also take part in a bit of friendly competition. There were around 100 people in total. So not a huge event, but the first thing we did was divide them up into 3 teams, green, blue, and reds, and gave each of them their own headquarters. So I'll show you what that looks like just now. But if we dive back over to this, what you can see is this is a standard landing page. So this is how you're greeted into the experiences. So it's just a web link up here, typed in. You type in your name, your company, your email. You could just have name. You could have name and company. You could have name, company, title. It's completely up to you. This is just like a landing page that you can customize, and you can add a background image if you want. I've reactivated this after a kind of a long time, so I'm hoping it all still works. But the second stage is you click continue. You turn on your webcam and microphone permissions. So one of the ways we differ from other platforms is you log in as yourself. So just like you would on Teams or Zoom, you would log in as yourself and you join. So to move around the experience, use the arrow keys on your keyboard. It's as simple as that. And then just like that, you are in. So what you're looking at now is I've logged in as an admin just to show you kind of how it all works from your perspective as an EA who might organize some of these types of events. You can see yourself in the top left here. So just like you can on Teams or Zoom, and other people in the room can see you like this. So you don't see kind of 3D avatars or random characters. You literally see each other within kind of the experience. To move around the experience, again, use the arrow keys on your keyboard. So left to go left, right to go right. You can see there's instantly some kind of Google Cloud branded logo. Here was the lobby. So this was the red team's lobby, I think. They've got the hero content on the wall here. So this is like the main message of why they're all being brought together. You can click on this. I will mute my tab very quickly. You can
most human trait
could come up here
is to want to know why.
within kind of the experience.
And in a year,
Have a little explore round. On the left here, you had a photo wall. So this was some of the red team. There were 33 people in total of the red team, and then the green and the blue team also had their own photo wall. So it's a nice way to kind of build community and get a sense of people that have turned up. You also had some extra hero content here on the side. There was a welcome banner which said "Welcome Red Team." Again, that's kind of been lost due to it being reactivated. And then what you'll see at the back is you have three different rooms. So within this Google experience in this event, we had multiple different rooms. So they didn't just stay here for the full hour. What they did was they had a dinosaur museum, which you can see on the right here. They had a Mars space camp, which you can see here. And then they also had a yoga studio, which is on the left. Um, Perhaps what I'll do is I'll jump into those to show you a bit about how they work in a second. Um, Simply add like your photo on the photo wall. Everything in here is designed to be super simple. So you go up to it, click add picture. I won't because I don't want to ruin their photo wall. But they take a picture, you would upload the content, and then from there you can um, either export all of these images out as a collage and send it around and circulate it afterwards, or what you can do now is you can take these images and put them onto, gifts, so like personalized bottles of beer or personalized brownies. It just kind of makes the whole experience a bit more kind of like personal. So it's getting hot. Sorry, I had to take my jumper off. This is the yoga room. So if we dive into the yoga room, this is very simple. So within kind of this hour-long experience, they had three different activities. One of these was a yoga session. So what we did was we live streamed one of the in-house yoga instructors who ran a session. I think it was a quick 5 minute, 10-minute blitz yoga session where people could come in, watch the content. Here, I've just displayed kind of a thumbnail video of to kind of give you an idea of what that experience looked like. But again, it's just something a bit different rather than taking a pause um, and doing it kind of manually over a stream. The view here is Cape Town in South Africa. And again, what's quite nice about the whole immersive side of things is you can literally pick your audience up and transport them into different areas of the world, different environments, just to kind of keep captivating them, keeping their attention throughout kind of the experience. This is the Mars Space Camp. So again, just to give you another idea, what we had here was we had kind of hidden artifacts hidden around the room where people could go discover, pick up certain items and clue. Think of like Cluedo to piece together the final master password, which ultimately was given at the end of the experience. There was also a Google rocket here as well, which users could come up, click this, and launch it, and it would fly around. Unfortunately, we don't have that in here anymore. And again, we had some hero content on the screen here. So this was the Mars Space Camp. Yep. And this was the Google Dinosaur Museum. So we actually built this dinosaur museum for another client, a paleontologist museum in Arizona, where paleontologists or taught kids about velociraptors and T-Rexes things when these in-person events weren't possible. It just so happened that the EA team at Google were also interested, loved the room, and wanted to use it and repurpose it for their own event. So that is what they did. And it's, as you can see here, it's actually one of my favorite rooms as well. You've got the same kind of functionality. So there was a photo wall. There was an egg hunting game. So you could click start game and go around and collect as many eggs as you want, kind of think like Pac-Man. You had a few items here on display. So you could learn about kind of what velociraptor claws were, what's hidden inside the box, T-Rex skulls. But ultimately, it was just something a bit different to break up again the day. Now, when it came to delivering kind of the serious message as well throughout this networking session, or for when the EA team wanted to communicate with all of the attendees, what they would do is they would stream. So I've logged in as an admin again. You can see I've got organizer actions here, and I've got the broadcast and stream button up here. What the stream button allows you to do is to beam content just like this, hello, to everyone, no matter where they are in the room or what room they're in. It's just like kind of a Zoom broadcast, and everyone can see you. So they did this 3 times throughout the experience. They did this first when everyone logged in, just to welcome everyone. The head of marketing kind of told them why kind of we'd set this up and put this on for everyone as a way of kind of like breaking up the day of content. The second time was during a fireside chat. So what you can see here is there's obviously just me, but if there was another admin, there's a join stream button. So there can be 2 of you at the same time. So Charlie, my co-founder, and I were actually interviewed on a fireside chat panel with the EA team at Google because we build on GCP, which is Google's product. So they were interested in doing that, which was nice. And what they also gave attendees the ability to do was ask a question. So if they click to ask a question here, it's like, when will this be over? I don't know, or something like that. Questions would come up at the bottom. Admins would be able to take them in, read them, and address them in real time. You also obviously have the ability to share your screen, just like you would on Teams or Zoom. You'd click share screen. It would suggest what screen you want to record or display. You click share, and then it would beam here. So everything you can do on Teams and Zoom, you can do within this platform as well. You've just got the added immersive, engaging, kind of interacting side as well. The final stream was in the sustainability room, which is where we will go now. And that was simply just to thank everyone for coming and to say who the winners are. So what you'll see, and there's 3 of me on the screen at the moment, so I'll close that. What you'll see is there is a scoreboard up here. So there were questions hidden around the room, which when they were answered correctly, they would acquire points. So again, there was a scavenger hunt in the Mars base. There was some kind of simple basic answers in the lobby. Within here, there were more questions to do with paleontology and also kind of Google products. And what I'll do is I will jump to the sustainability room now. So this is the sustainability forest. So this was a unique. All the other rooms that you saw previously were kind of like stock off-the-shelf rooms that we'd either built for other clients or we just had in our portfolio ready to use. This is the one actual environment we built for Google to match kind of their sustainability themed event. So I think they've got a lot of initiatives at the moment. As I said, it was a year ago or so when we did this event, so I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think they've got a goal of getting to carbon zero in the next few years. Here we had a number of different screens with different bits of content. Each had their own different quiz question. So again, they were clocking points, and also hidden around the experience. You can see where there's a bear there, and where there's signposts and things like that. There were other hidden questions as well. So this is basically where the event ended. They did another stream. The host did another stream to thank everyone for coming, and again awarded prizes, and then told everyone to kind of jump back to Google Meet, where I think the majority of people were actually upset. So in terms of kind of outcomes or kind of results of the event, they sent a post survey round afterwards, a survey post event to everyone that attended, and 97% of people voted the experience excellent or very good, and they were asking if they could use it for external comms, which is it was flattering, but unfortunately they have their own policies where they can't use it for external comms. They need to use their own platforms. One person did vote the experience as terrible. And I think we were told that that was because they were lobbying for another platform to be used, which is fine. You can't please everyone. And then we actually did, out of the 100 people, we had one person that actually couldn't access the experience. But the fact that there were 100 people at this event and only one couldn't access it, and it's a new technology, and they were launching it for the first time, Google deemed that a success. So all in all, it was a good event, and a pleasure to work on with the EAs. So it just occurred to me that I never actually showed you kind of what it looks like when you're in the experience with other people. So I know I described it, but here is actually what it looks like. So again, you can hear and see each other within the experience. How it works is you only hear people close to you. when you walk away, you can no longer hear them again. So, for example, you could have people on different booths and different stands. You can have support teams strategically placed around the room. And on top of this, obviously, you've got the broadcast features that I showed you before, where you can stream content to everyone. So ultimately, the host has still got control over the whole experience. But what it allows to do is for bigger groups of people, instead of like a Zoom where one person talks and presents and everyone listens, and realistically, everyone puts it on in the background and gets on with their work. It gives everyone kind of their own autonomy to make the experience what they want. So here you can see it was a bit of a group kind of formed. And then in the beginning, obviously, you can have individual solo private conversations. We also have a private calling feature. But yeah, it's a good way to allow attendees and users and anyone to kind of get to speak to who they want to as quick as possible. So this is an example for holiday parties that we've run. So typically we work with EA teams here to arrange them either for a department or for an organization wide holiday party. This was more kind of prevalent in COVID, obviously, and I think we all agree in-person holiday Christmas parties are definitely the best option. But for example, if you have a remote workforce and you can't get everyone to join, or maybe some join and there's like a hybrid approach, this is kind of an avenue which you can take, which is nice, quick and easy to set up for kind of remote engagement for the teams in the holiday season. What you'll see is, again, I've logged in as an admin, so I've got a few of extra features. You had 3 different rooms. You've got Santa's Workshop, Blitzen's Bar, and Rudolph's Retreat. You have the number of attendees in the right-hand side, so you can see all your colleagues here who join. And as you go around the room, I think all the content's still in here. You've got some kind of Christmas-themed questions. You've got some I think some questions related to the company, but you basically have like a scavenger hunt again. So it's a case of answering questions right or wrong to win points. And here you can see this is a message from one of the chief execs at Intuitive, who just wished everyone Nick's a holiday message.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Which is a really nice touch, because once he's recorded it, you can then use it again and again and again. You don't have to keep joining and live streaming. That said, what they did do, and I don't know if this works, it probably isn't because I haven't activated it, but they did stream content across. So when everyone joined, the CEO did make a kind of a live broadcast of thanks everyone for their hard work. It was kept to about 5 minutes, so no longer. Typically people join these experiences because they want to go around and enjoy it for what it is, rather than feel like they're stuck on a Zoom. And yeah, what you'll see here is there's also, so we take the same technology with the photo wall, but also put it on top of the Christmas tree. So this is kind of like the pride and glory of the whole experience. If you can solve the puzzle and figure out the master password, so you come up to this, it would prompt you and say, what is the master password? You type that in, and the first person that does it gets their face on top of the Christmas tree. I think we hid the master password in this gingerbread man, so that when you come up to it, it would say the master password is Intuitive 1 or something, and then the user can take it to this, upload it, and then they are the king or queen at Christmas. The last room that I will show you to do with kind of the showcase product, so the virtual event product where you can hear and see each other within the room, is this one. Again, here's an example of a landing page as well. So you've got kind of like more dynamic landing pages. It's not so static. The user is kind of anticipates what's going to happen within kind of the room, and they can see what to expect. You've been through this before. You accept your webcam and microphone permissions, you log on, and once you are in the room, you are in the room. So it's nice and easy. The beauty of this room is all the rooms that I've shown you up until this point, or experiences, have been multi-room, so people can jump within each experience. If you're running a very simple event, or you want to support learning and development with new training, or you want to promote new policies, you can display it in rooms like this. So this is one of our most popular rooms. We call it the Mixed Reality Rooms Resource Hub. And within this room environment experience, you can see there are 3 different sections. So one is 7 Minutes in Heaven, which is the product we haven't spoken about yet. It's the solo-led game. This is Showcase, so to do with kind of virtual events. And then also what you've got there is like about mixed reality rooms. The reason why this environment is so nice is you have the ability to clump together and cluster content. So you probably within your organization have a content hub with all the resources and things like that, but it's probably 2D and flat. Here, what you can do is you can dedicate a whole section. You have as many sections as you want to certain areas of the room. And within each room, you've got the relevant content. So here, you've got a hero piece of content on the wall, which is the video. Here, you can go up and download an ebook. You can also answer questions. So I think that's the right answer. Yeah, there we go. You can see that I got correct there. And for every right or wrong question, you get 2 points. For every poll question, so where there's no actual right or wrong, you get 1 point. And then you also have the ability to add long form content. So I'll go a bit more into this when I show you the next product. Typically, how these sessions run in these rooms is you would have members of the team, or you guys as support, if you were to set this up, sitting or standing by kind of support zone. So in this case, it would probably be each booth in each room. If someone is not around or you can't man the booth yourself, you can also link it to like Calendly, so people can be directed to the relevant people to talk to, whether that be via intercom, Slack, or emails directly. Again, it's all the same stuff. We're not asking you to create any new types of content. It's all the content that will probably come across your desk and be asked to help the support the CEO with. And it's a nice way for help leadership communicate new policies or changes and movements to the rest of the organization. One thing that we haven't shown is we also support presentations as well. So what you can see here is I've opened it, I'm clicking through the slides. So any sort of PDFs you can open and you can see how that updates in real time as well. So if I go to slide 2, close presentation, you can see it's updated on the wall. Yeah, I think that is everything for this room. The last thing I'll add is spatial audio. So by default, the spatial audio works where you go close to people, you can hear them. When you go away, you can't hear them. But within this environment, each area zone is its own bubble. So you can see there's like a little line, a yellow line here, pink line here, and an orange line here. Each one of these is its own audio zone, which means you can have 3 presentations going on at the same time. Here are also the controls. If you've been wondering what I've been doing and how to navigate the room, I think I did say this, but here's a visual of how the controls work within the room. And yeah, I'll leave that one at there. So this is 7 Minutes in Heaven. This is the solo-led game, which you may find useful for either onboarding or training individuals, or just, again, communicating the message. The key difference to this experience over the previous experiences you saw is the previous experiences are all kind of a virtual event base. It relies on you getting a group of people together at a certain time to discuss XYZ topics or celebrate, XYZ themes. Here, this can be all of kind of the existing content that you need, or you need to kind of convey, or policies of how the company's changing. And it can be a way of sending these experiences out to your colleagues to keep them up to date with what's happening. Here, you can see that it's personalized down to the individual level. So you can say, welcome, Liz, to 7 minutes of immersive training. Again, you can customize whatever you want on this landing page, collect what you need. You click continue, and the one difference is you don't need a webcam or microphone. Hey Liz, nice to see you made it here. I'm Sam, and welcome to 7 minutes. Because you are not the user or your colleagues. You are 7 minutes to go around the experience, needed to do a social to talk with other people in the room. Of course, that's a mouthful. They'll get points for here. You can see you're greeted with an instant welcome video when you join, and telling people what to expect. So this could either be kind of obviously the main benefit here is the you. It could be from the relevant departments, but all of this content will exist somewhere already. You just need to kind of configure it and put it into cases like this. Another key difference is you've got a timer. So the timer can change. You don't need a timer. You can disable it. But what's quite nice about the timer is it keeps people engaged. Everyone has 7 minutes. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO or an intern. So what's quite nice about it is it sets expectations of how long that person will need to spend here, rather than it feeling like a 60-minute long webinar, which hopefully this doesn't feel like, but it's kind of creates a sense of urgency. Again, to move around, you just use the arrow keys on your keyboards, and you've got the welcome video here. As you can see, people have answered. Sophie, Liz, Sam have already clocked some scores. Here is an example of a polling question. Have you heard of mixed reality rooms before today? Yes, but not sure what you do, or no. It doesn't matter if you select no or yes or whatever. Everyone's the right answer. You're just trying to collect some feedback. So you can see here, a point was added to my score for selecting yes. Mixed reality rooms can provide an alternative to all listed webinars, gifting, or virtual events. The correct answer here is all listed. In theory, all of these are correct, but because this is technically the most correct answer, I'll select this, and you can see it says correct, and I'm giving 2 points back from that. The same thing applies. What you've got is you can lace it with, not lace it, you can display social proof or any kind of the content you want on the screens. You've got the ability to download case studies. So if I click download here, you'll see is it will load. Let me just swap tabs. It will load in the other tab. So it's just loading up. I don't think it's liking that I've got so many screens open at the moment. But you can see here is the deck that I've just downloaded. So any sort of materials that you want to the user or your colleagues to kind of consume can all be built into this experience and given in one go. And again, you've got more kind of content on the wall. So all of this content, we've kind of been through this functionality already. All of this content, nothing is new here. It's just a case of taking what's already out there and repurposing it in a way that's actually going to captivate kind of your colleagues' attention, get them engaged, and also you're tracking all of these touch points, right? So you, for onboarding experiences or for training experiences, or if you just want to get feedback on behalf of the CFO about how they feel about budget cuts, or CMOs, or and how they feel the messaging and the marketing and storytelling is going, or the CEO in general, or HR, of how new starters are joining. It's a great way to kind of get two-way feedback in that element. Other kind of elements which we didn't touch base is you can also capture long-form information. So just kind of building upon that. Sometimes answers just aren't black and white, or like yes or no, or here are a number of options. Sometimes you want to ask people a bit more, get more qualitative answers. So I could say, there is no mentorship program at this organization. You click submit, and then what that does is it submits it to you guys and doing collecting insights. Again, more questions, and then typically what we will do is if someone gets over 12 points, so Sophie here will receive a prize, we will ask them to type in their gifting details, and we can send them some swag. So typically when we run internal events, these would be kind of like those onboarding swag goodie bags, or it could be just like a prize for collecting most points. But we take all of the heavy lifting of like setting all of that up for you by collecting all that information in the experience, such as address. I won't wait for another 2 minutes, but once the time is up, what this does is it can push you to another web page. So that could be a survey form, it could be the website, it could be another experience. It can literally be anything, and it's a good way to kind of keep that momentum going and push them on to the next module. I think that's everything. I'll just fly through this. Yeah, I think that's everything. And yeah, just if you've got any questions, I'll be around again to answer them as and when. The other thing that we haven't kind of touched upon is there is a raise your hand button. So if I raise this, it will notify the admin that I need help. And you've also got some kind of help prompts here to help people get around the experience. So that's I think we're live. Sorry. So that's the front end of the experience. So all that's left to show you really is kind of like the back end. So what does it look like, and how do you go about organizing and setting these rooms up? So here you've got on the left everything you could possibly need to set these experiences up and run them effectively. If we go into rooms and expand that, you've got view. So I'll click on that. You can see all these different room slots. So ultimately, it's the same 3D environment. You can see here, just for the purpose of this demo, I'm using the Lacework environment, but you can see we've customized it at the individual level. So it's welcome Liz, welcome Claire, welcome Leander, to training, to ABM, to, and I think, training, ABM, onboarding. You can either customize these at solo level, so at person level. You could cluster each one of these slots up based on kind of modules. You could cluster it up based on types of events, but ultimately our system allows you to kind of clone existing rooms, so it does all the heavy lifting for you. So if I want to say create a test event, and I might want to select Lacework environment, I can click clone from existing, click this, and I want to clone this room, click create. And just like that, in 3 or 4 clicks, I've got a new experience that's ready to go and ready to be deployed. If I want to change the title of an event, I might want to call this onboarding experience for new starters. And I can change the logo, I can change the background, image, all of that stuff's done for you. You can see how it's changed there. You have the ability to add welcome notifications. So it's simply a case of recording a video, uploading it to the platform, and it will appear here. You have the ability to set a timer if you want to set a timer. And this is where do you redirect it to. Typically, we'll redirect it back to our website, and we'll set it to 450 seconds. But that's simply how you kind of create these different experiences. In terms of what it takes to actually create a 3D world, we will typically do these. We can build these in about 2 weeks. And we work with you in 3 stages. One, you'll probably come to us with like a theme of the event or like a rough idea. So stage 1 will be a case of simply mapping out a bird's eye view, 2D floor plan of where you want screens, where you want questions, where you want X, Y, Z. The second stage is we build like a very blocky gray 3D render, which allows you to go in so you can figure out and get like a gauge of like the space, how long it takes you to travel from X to Y to screen A to screen B. And then the third stage, once you're happy, is we then add all the pretty details, right? This is what's going to make the room really kind of come to life and be interactive. In terms of media, this works exactly the same way you would do, you create any other content. You would just upload your video, choose a file from your computer, upload, and then once it's in here, it's a CMS, right? So it's your own library of content. And I'll show you how that pulls through in the front end so you can start displaying that content. In terms of what have we got here, so I think it's a dummy account, but like, in terms of kind of what can be captured and what information can be captured, this is where you can see how many people have been in the experience, how many hours of video have been watched, number of interactions, total attendee hours, and I think you can click in and at an individual level, you can see, oh, this person has watched this, they've been here for this long, they've downloaded this material, they've got 4 right, 1 wrong, they haven't answered any survey responses, which is the long form content, but they did answer the poll, so have you heard of us before? The answer is no. So this is all the information that's going to become valuable post-session, where you can look to build upon it and also kind of help you deem whether you think it has been a success or not. In terms of resources, we kind of provide this white glove service where we'll run and set up all the events for you. It's super simple to do yourself, but typically we find EAs that we work with are short on time anyway, so we'll help support and do all of that. But we also have our resource panel here, so you can go in and get any information on certain features, how to do certain things, how to set up rooms. You've even got kind of email templates of things to send out if you are looking to send these experiences out kind of organizational wide. That room I created earlier, what I'll do is I'll log into that and just show you how the content that you upload can be brought actually into the experience. So I'll log in. Obviously, I've changed the name to Onboarding Experience for New Starters. Click Start. And again, I'm going to log in as an admin. So I'm going to have some organizer actions and a few extra buttons. Attendees won't have that. They won't have like the little X to cancel and close things. They won't have the ability to change the content in the screen. They'll just kind of use the experience as it is and how you've set it up for them. So again, I'm
Hey
going
Liz,
to
welcome
nice
to
to see you
the
made it
video.
here. Close that. I'll expand organizer actions. And what's really nice about this is it changes depending on where you are in the room. So just like we're in the real world, if you want to change what was in this picture or this story, if I go up to it, you can see that it changes. It says surface screen. So I'll simply go up to surface, click on this, search my library for any kind of images. So I might want to upload the video. I might just upload this picture of add push up, click save changes, and hello, just Hamora, just like that, it changes content very quickly. These are the little X's I was on about. So this allows you to get rid of pop-ups. But for example, if I want to add a pop-up, instead of screens, what I'm looking for in the organizer actions is zones. So when I step out of this zone, you can see that it will disappear. But if I want to add something, I can say, welcome EAs to the mixed reality rooms onboarding experience. Nope, that's definitely not, but we'll continue anyway. And then you can add an action. So do I want to add a text pop-up? So I might go yes, so text pop-up, and then just fill it with some text. I might want to add a video pop-up. So I might want to name this button watch, and then select a video. And that might be it. So I might click save changes. And just like that, you can see that I've created a text pop-up and I've created a video pop-up.
Hey Claire,
so all of this stuff is very nice and simple. The other way to do it is if I want to create or add a quiz question, it works the exact same way. So you've got all the things you need just in one place. So who won the FIFA Women's World Cup on Sunday? Action. I want to make this a quiz answer. So let's say the correct answer, unfortunately, is Spain, but I might have Spain, England, and you know what? I might have Germany as well because I know they're a good team. Click save changes. And what you can see is just like that, I've added a question mark. So if I click Spain, I get 2 points because I got the question right. So you manage everything from this panel. It's very straightforward. If you upload something wrong, that's fine. You just remove it and start over. But yeah, it's very straightforward. And that is that. Really? So if you've been tasked by your boss to arrange a holiday party or perhaps set up a team meetup with execs or perhaps promote some new initiatives, feel free to reach out. I think I covered things pretty extensively. But yeah, if you've got any questions, I would welcome them now. Cheers.